Most men don't realize the moment it happens. Attraction doesn't usually explode, it quietly evaporates. And the uncomfortable truth is this: when a woman starts seeing you as weak, she doesn't announce it. Her behavior slowly reveals it. Imagine this. In the beginning, she texts back quickly. She laughs at your jokes. She asks questions about your life. There's curiosity. There's energy. You feel wanted. But slowly, something shifts. Your messages get shorter replies. Plans become harder to schedule. She starts saying things like, "I'm just really busy lately." Yet somehow she still finds time for other things, other people, other priorities. You start feeling the distance, so you try harder. You text more. You reassure her. You explain yourself. You try to prove your intentions, your loyalty, your care. But the more you push for connection, the more she seems to pull away. And what you think is love, she begins to experience as pressure. What you think is commitment, she starts reading as weakness. Let's talk about the signs. The first sign is simple but painful. She stops respecting your time. When a woman is attracted and emotionally invested, she naturally values your presence. She wants access to you. She protects the connection. But when she begins to see you as weak, your time becomes disposable. She cancels plans last minute. She shows up late. She keeps you waiting. She says she'll call and never does. And you accept it. You tell yourself she's busy. You try to be understanding. You adjust your schedule around her. But psychologically, something important is happening here. Respect and attraction are deeply connected. When someone consistently tolerates being deprioritized, the brain registers a power imbalance. One person is chasing. The other is being chased. And attraction rarely grows in that imbalance. The second sign is that she stops being emotionally careful around you. Early in attraction, people are aware of how their words affect the other person. There's sensitivity. There's effort. But when she sees you as weak, that filter disappears. She may make subtle disrespectful jokes. She may criticize you more openly. She may compare you to other men. Sometimes she even says things that sting, and then laughs it off. Not because she's evil, but because she senses you won't push back. Psychologically, this often happens when a man becomes too approval-seeking. When his identity slowly shifts from being a partner to being someone who needs validation from her. And once that dynamic forms, the emotional polarity changes. The third sign is that she stops seeking your approval. This one is subtle. In healthy attraction, both people care about how the other perceives them. There's a natural desire to impress each other. But when she starts seeing you as weak, your opinion loses weight. She doesn't ask what you think anymore. She makes decisions without including you. She might even talk about other men openly, knowing it bothers you. Not because she wants to hurt you, but because she knows there will be no consequences. Weakness in attraction isn't about kindness or emotional openness. It's about lack of boundaries. The fourth sign is that she becomes emotionally unpredictable. One day she's warm. The next day she's distant. One day she's affectionate. The next day she barely responds. And you spend hours trying to figure out what changed. This creates what psychologists call a validation loop. Your brain starts chasing small moments of approval. A short text from her suddenly feels rewarding. A little attention feels like relief. Dopamine spikes, not from stable connection, but from uncertainty. This dynamic is dangerously similar to trauma bonding. The nervous system becomes addicted to emotional inconsistency. And the more you chase that feeling, the weaker you appear in her eyes. The fifth sign is that she stops investing effort. She no longer plans things. She doesn't initiate conversations. She rarely asks about your day. You become the engine of the relationship. You start every conversation. You plan every meeting. You maintain every emotional bridge. At first you call it dedication. But in reality, it's imbalance. Healthy attraction involves mutual investment. Both people contribute energy. When only one person is trying, the relationship slowly turns into emotional dependency. And dependency kills attraction. The sixth sign is that she begins testing you. Not always consciously. She might ignore a message just to see how you react. She might cancel a plan and watch whether you get upset or simply accept it. These aren't always manipulative tests. Sometimes they're instinctive. Human beings constantly measure emotional strength in subtle ways. When every test results in you chasing harder, apologizing more, or seeking reassurance, the signal she receives is clear. You're afraid of losing her. And fear of loss often communicates lower perceived value. The seventh sign is that she stops sharing vulnerability. When a woman respects and trusts a man emotionally, she gradually opens up. She shares fears, insecurities, personal stories. But when she sees him as weak, she closes that door. Because vulnerability requires emotional safety. It requires a sense that the other person is stable. If she feels like you're constantly seeking reassurance from her, she subconsciously stops leaning on you. The emotional polarity flips. Instead of you being a source of grounding, you become someone who needs grounding. And the eighth sign, the one most men ignore. She starts treating you like emotional background noise. You're there. You're available. You're responsive. But you're not exciting. You're not mysterious. You're not challenging. You're predictable. And while stability is important in long-term relationships, early attraction thrives on polarity, curiosity, and emotional strength. Now here's the hard truth most men avoid hearing. None of these signs happen overnight. They develop slowly through patterns of behavior. Over-explaining yourself. Over-texting. Over-investing too early. Tolerating disrespect. Ignoring your own boundaries just to keep her interested. What begins as kindness can slowly turn into self-abandonment. And people don't respect someone who abandons themselves. But here's the shift that changes everything. Weakness is not being emotional. Weakness is not caring. Weakness is not wanting connection. Real weakness is losing your center in order to keep someone. When your mood depends on their replies. When your self-worth depends on their approval. When your boundaries disappear just to avoid conflict. You stop being a partner. You become a source of validation. And validation is addictive, but it's rarely attractive. The real correction isn't playing games. It's emotional stability. It's being able to care about someone without needing them to regulate your identity. It's having boundaries that don't disappear just because you're afraid they might leave. Because the moment you stop chasing approval, something interesting happens. Some people lose interest. And some people suddenly start respecting you again. But either outcome gives you something far more important than attraction. Self-respect. And sometimes the strongest move in a relationship is realizing that the moment someone starts seeing you as weak is usually the moment you stopped respecting yourself first.